Okay, welcome to another lore video, and we've got a bit more story concerning D-2, Seo Jin-ae, the only survivor of Azimuth Biotech's attempts to plug human beings into Thargoid ships. She went walkabout in January, saying that she had unfinished business with Salvation, and anyone who logged in on Thursday morning after the regular weekly maintenance got a message from Aidan Tanner, ex-Federal Navy, now of Aegis. So here is that message from Aidan Tanner, Commander. The following is a matter of urgency and discretion. Seo Jin-ae, formerly known to some as Subject D2, is missing and likely in danger. Her last known location was traced to the Naruriyanka system. I think the G is meant to be silent in that, but who knows. I've asked for an Aegis security team to search the area. Even so, the Pilots Federation has always been a trusted ally, and I consider its members people of integrity. I hope that you'll help uncover Seo's whereabouts. Let's bring her home. Okay. It's a few jumps from my current position to where she was last seen. Let's go see what we can find out. When you get to Naruriyanka, scan a nav beacon or do a DSS and FSS. Okay, this is what you're looking for. It's a hacked comms beacon near to body 3. And as you can see, it has the telltale exploration symbol, which usually tells us that it's story related. You know the deal. Get near it, and you might get the message automatically, which in fact it looks like we have. So you don't need to scan it with your data scanner, you just target it. And when you do, we've got some discovered logs. So let's have a listen to them.
You finally figured out how to contact me. It took you long enough?
Well, I'm out of practice. It's been a while since I received an anonymous tip from some hothead charging across the galaxy.
Skip the lecture about how I shouldn't be flying around the galaxy by myself. Or that the noises in my head are too important. Abba already tried.
Are you sure? I've been planning my speech for hours.
I found something, Mr. Tanner. Data pulled from an Azimuth archive. The files are still corrupt in places, but if the decryption I'm running is good...
Hold on a second. What do you think you found?
Salvation had a failsafe device. Some kind of digital storage for human consciousness. He called it the Nemesis Protocol. Just the type of code name an arrogant prick would give themselves. It must have been activated before the Bright Sentinel was destroyed. The recovery crew only saw a corpse, right?
Yeah, the body's ID was confirmed, but the Thargoid showed up before it could be recovered. I saw the report from the rescue crew. I can't say I doubted its authenticity.
There's no chance Salvation would have been on that ship if he didn't have a getaway plan. He's too much of a coward to face death. Final deaths, I mean. I know he escaped somehow.
I understand why you're keen on this, Saw, but this idea of uploading someone's mind into a data bank, it's just...
Is what? Crazy?
I never said you were crazy, kid. Just don't want you to exhaust yourself chasing rumors.
I'm always exhausted. I didn't ask to join your stupid war with the aliens. Now I'm trapped in the middle of it because of him. This Nemesis device will prove Salvation's still out there, if I can find it. Are you going to help me or not?
I already said I would. What have you got?
The upload's finished. Check your inbox.
Message received. There's a lot of stuff here, Saw.
I've checked marked the important parts.
So you have. Where did you learn to find this information?
I used to be a private investigator. My boss had a soft spot for people who'd been screwed over by the corporations. He taught me how to access private networks without setting off any alarms.
You're a hacker, then?
Oh yeah, a real cybernet hacker. Nobody talks like that anymore. Info is only as safe as the network it lives on. Didn't you ever learn how to bypass in the Federal Army?
Federal Navy, and no, it wasn't part of my training to steal classified data. I had a network of spies who did that for me.
I read that you tried to seize data from Asimov's computers at Hindmine, but failed. Maybe that wasn't part of your training either.
I can hear your grin, Saw. Instead of smart-mouthing your way into my bad side, how about you explain how you found out about this Nemesis thing?
Fine. Remember when Azimuth was forced out of several systems last year? They left a few unmarked data clusters on local servers. I doubt on purpose. One had access port info for a primary... Did you send someone after me?
No, why do you ask? You still there, Saw?
I could have sworn there was movement on my radar. Can't see anything now. You tell me if you did, yes?
It depends what my objective was, but I'm telling the truth. I'm not aware of any plan to have you followed.
Okay, let's go through this data. Start at the first check mark.
I'll be completely honest with you, so I'm still not convinced.
How can you say that after everything you've just read? Salvation had a failsafe for when he physically died.
All I've seen is a theory about using Guardian tech to build a storage device for the mind. But having an idea and making it a reality are very different things.
Salvation had the credits and resources to build anti-Thargoid mega weapons. He convinced the fleets of all three superpowers to join his cause. Do you really think he'd design a way to cheat death and not go through with it?
Show me in this document where it says he built the Nemesis device.
You're being dumb.
Show me.
There's no mention of building it.
Then you're still chasing a rumor. I agree that this is interesting, and maybe there's more to find. For now, come back to the Aegis facility, and we can plan the next phase of your search together.
Together? Right. You'll keep a close eye on me, I guess. It's important to make sure your Thargoid wiretap is safe.
You're sulking.
Don't talk down to me. I'm right.
Is that what you think? That we're more interested in what you can give us than who you are?
If I couldn't hear the Thargoids, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Maybe you're right. But I'm not sure we'd be talking if I hadn't been a Federal Navy Admiral. It doesn't matter what brings us to the dance, Saw. What matters is you're here now, and we have a duty to care for you.
I wish I could believe you. I want to, but... I'm so messed up, Aiden. It's like my brain isn't my own anymore. The noises are sometimes loud and sometimes quiet, but I could never switch them off.
And that's a crappy hand to be dealt. I wish there was a way to take it back, but the doctors say we can't. Not yet, at least.
Maybe not.
Scan detected.
Need to go. Ships arrived with weapons already. No identification.
Shields online.
Name a destination, I'll have a squadron deployed to meet you.
Changdi, dropping comms.
Okay, so when she said she had unfinished business with Salvation, I speculated at the time that rather than find evidence that he was still alive somehow, in some way, that maybe she would find some more evidence of his dodgy dealings that would tie him into Azimuth, who were desperately trying to disassociate themselves from their former head of research. And I thought that perhaps she would uncover some evidence that would incriminate them once and for all, and show that, you know, they're lying through their teeth about not knowing anything about the research that Salvation did, which, you know, nobody believes them for a second, but believing is one thing, proving is another. And so, yeah, Salvation has gone for the old mind uploading trick. He's uploaded his consciousness into some kind of machine made from Guardian technology. And someone is after D-2. The obvious suspect, you would think, would be Azimuth, possibly with the help of their mercenaries for hire at Black Flight. But the last location she gave was Shangdi, so that is where we're going next. And there it is. Curious ship debris. Interestingly, it doesn't have the telltale exploration. It has salvage. But this is what you're looking for. Looking at this curious ship debris, there's no real way to tell what kind of ship it may have been part of. The outline and structure of it doesn't suggest any model in particular. So scan the uplink. We get a message. Message corrupted, analysing, transcription complete. Are you sure that's her wake? One of them is. Can't tell for sure. She gate crashed a wedding and sent ships scattering. Damn barges are everywhere. Who takes a wedding barge to Shangdi? People who live in Shangdi, probably. Shut up, you two. We got a job to do. Just analyse the wakes. Jeez. None of them give her name. She's hardly going to have D-2 stamped on her ship either. Would make our lives easier if she did. Look, let's take one system each. I'll search Electrona. EGM 95. Anchor here. That leaves me with main. What do we do when we find her? Stick to the plan. Disable her ship, force her to use an escape pod. What if she doesn't jettison? Disable her ship some more. Trashing life support can change anyone's mind. Trust me. Alright, so you have 4 systems to look through for further evidence of what happened. Did her pursuers, whoever they are, catch up with her? Or did she manage to escape? Let's go find out. Of the 4 systems, it's when you jump into Anchor that you find this point of interest. Again, salvage rather than exploration, but this is the one you want. Notable degraded emissions. Now, degraded emissions, yes. Never seen notable ones before. Let's find out what makes them notable. Okay, another ship log up link. Look at this debris. Again, can't really tell too much from the debris. There's somebody here with me. A cobra and an eagle. We'll scan the uplink, get the message. Message corrupted, analysing, transcription failed. And looks like they're saying, you know, what is that? And then just a string of characters. So, D-2, who's good at gate crashing things, she gate crashed Albert Ezro's conference, and she has gate crashed a wedding barge, presumably to try and confuse her pursuers, who would then have like multiple wakes to scan or something like that, but it's obviously to try and throw off the pursuit. So has this message come from her? That doesn't seem to be too likely. I'm guessing it's come from one of her pursuers. He's dropped in after her, and something has turned up. Possibly the ships that she said was following her, but then didn't attack during a conversation with Tanner. From context, it seems most likely that one of her pursuers dropped in here and got attacked by something. But for now, this is where the trail ends. Having picked up the logs and followed the trail, let's look at some of the takeaways from that. There weren't any wakes to follow, so the trail has gone cold for now. Tanner sent us that message after he failed to meet up with D-2 at the rendezvous in Shangdi, so he arrived too late. She has vanished. Missing or dead, we don't know. She mentions movement on her radar during the initial conversation with Tanner, but nothing attacks her and the blips go away. It wasn't the agents pursuing her, whoever they were, otherwise she would have been shot right there and then. Someone or something else entirely is following her then. If the last garbled message belongs to one of her pursuers, he got jumped by whatever is following her before he could get away, and possibly before he could inform the rest of his team as well. If the last message belongs to her, then she was either kidnapped by her pursuers or whatever is following her around. Of course, a big bit of tinfoil going round is that somehow the Thargoids are protecting or watching over Seo Jin-ae in some way, and they destroyed her pursuer. There's no caustic damage, but they could have just shot him to pieces without using caustic weapons like missiles or something. So the lack of a green cloud at the scene doesn't confirm or deny anything, really. She mentions accessing data clusters in the systems where Azimuth were evicted by Operation Witch Hunt. Nice little nod to them. But so far, players haven't found anything out of the ordinary in the systems where Azimuth was either kicked out or prevented from getting a foothold in the first place, as they were in the CG. If anything does get found in those systems, I'll update you with it. Like Tanner says, there's no evidence that Salvation was actually able to build the mind transfer machine, but Seo Jin-ae certainly thinks he did, and beamed his consciousness into it before the Bright Sentinel was destroyed. In the video, where Salvation used the Proteus wave and the Thargoids turned the tables on him, Salvation's datapad by his chair had the word Nemesis on it. This probably was just a mistake and they used the carrier command deck in the video and didn't change the name to the Bright Sentinel, but whether it was intentional or not, they've now blended this into the story, with Nemesis being the name given to the mind transfer process. Some players have said that this Ghost in the Machine stuff is a bit lame and just dragging out the supervillain like Elite Dangerous's version of the Master from Doctor Who or Ernst Stavro Blofeld from the Bond movies, you know, the scheming arch-villain who always gets away to scheme another day. And I'd have got away with it too if it hadn't been for you meddling Thargoids. But is it such an outlandish and lame idea? I don't think so. Because developing mind transfer technology by the 34th century, and usually well before the 34th century, has been a staple to the point where it's been almost normalised by science fiction stories over the years. And the seeds for this have been sown in Elite Dangerous since the beginning, with Pranav Antal. And we don't hear a lot about Pranav Antal. He's a minor power play faction, but he pops up from time to time. Like Zemina Torval, he's usually near the bottom in power play, and like her, he has the occasional article posted about him, but none of it has really moved him on a lot or expanded his power base much. A couple of years ago, he wanted to host a meeting of the superpowers, the meeting that was interrupted by the NMLA attacks, but lost the hosting rights to Sirius at the time. Over the years, there have been the occasional attempts to attack his archive, with the odd CG to defend him, but mainly he's been in the shadows and only making the news periodically, so why am I mentioning him? Well, two reasons. Firstly, we know that the SIM archive contains memories of employees who are now dead, but their knowledge and experience lives on in the database. It doesn't say how those memories were stored in the first place. As far as I know, the process has never been explained. So we appear to have the beginnings of mind transfer technology already, at least the ability to transfer basic memories and some knowledge, if not a complete transfer of the mind itself. And the second reason is because of this article from 3304, 5 years ago now, April 3304, where a retired admiral from the Empire is saying that all of his prophecies of doom and gloom aside about the future of the human race, on a practical level, Antal's SIM archive is a source of information that would be disastrous if it fell into Thargoid hands, or whatever they have instead of hands. The data it contains make it a valuable prize for our enemy. Should the Thargoids gain access to it, it could lead to a better understanding of human psychology and allow them to anticipate our tactics more effectively. Now, how important it actually is for the Thargoids to understand us psychologically when they can simply smash us to pieces is debatable, but it might well be that this war will be won through some bit of human ingenuity that the Thargoids didn't see coming, so don't rule this out as having a part to play. It may or may not feed into the story at some point, but if Salvation has found a way to transfer consciousness using Guardian technology, then Antal, assuming that he knows about this now, must be champing at the bit to get hold of it, so we could be seeing him back in the news at some point. Meanwhile, we've been told to focus on alert systems, which has upset a lot of people because we already were. Our main focus might have been on invasion systems, but we have done a lot of work in alert systems and controlled systems, so to be kind of told that we should be doing something that we've already been doing is a little bit off, but and also the difficulty was increased in alert systems and controlled systems and only just been reduced again in recent weeks. And this latest update now makes unpopulated Thargoid controlled systems and unpopulated alerts easier to push back. Allegedly, more testing is going to be required to see if that's really the case and how much of a drop there's been. So although we've done most of our work in invasions, it's not like we've done nothing in alerts at all. It's just that for a while they were so stupidly hard to do that the focus shifted to invasions until such time as we got a target drop or helped out in some other way. Orthrus kills are what to go for if you can find them in alert systems, but all kills count, and tissue sampling in particular is proving to be very, very effective in alert and invasion systems, and possibly controlled systems as well, despite only being shown in-game as a task to do in alert systems. They seem to work everywhere. Thanks to Itribio for that information. He's been doing some extensive testing in all different kinds of systems, handing in tissue samples, and they definitely seem to work wherever you do them. In alerts, in invasions, in controlled systems. Now, we've been told that if we can repel potential invasions by clearing alert systems, the Thargoids will redirect their expansion in a direction that meets less resistance. Logical enough. But this only deflects the expansion away from human systems. It's just redirecting it. It's not holding it back, stopping it, or reversing it. For that, we need to hit the frontline systems as well. For those who can't recall what they are, those are Thargoid control systems with the anti-Xeno conflict zones in them, as opposed to the ones without anti-Xeno conflict zones in them. And they represent the spearhead of the Thargoid expansion. So hopefully, with unpopulated alerts and unpopulated controlled systems being made a bit easier to push back again, we can finally put into place a strategy that we've had planned for weeks, but which wasn't possible until those systems became easier to clear in a reasonable length of time. A two-pronged approach of clearing the alert systems and any frontline systems nearby. That way we can at least feel like we're getting somewhere while we're waiting for the next breakthrough, courtesy of the storyline. So that's it for now. Till next time, take care of yourselves in the war zone, and as always, thanks for watching.